Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you see this. This is Dee with INFP-A Assertive Insights. And today I'm going to be talking about that I did go to a party, an ESTJ party, and I did it incorrectly. And so I would just like to say a few things about that. And so if you're new, welcome. This channel is about everything INFP, regardless of the model. We'll talk about a little bit of everything. And I hope you find something that you resonate with. If you do, comment below. If you don't, comment below also. Or check out some of the other videos we have here, almost 200. But yeah, I did actually get out and go to a party, major party. As you know, those of you who have been following me, I've said that I live in a very intense, mostly ESTJ world, and I do like to stay closer to myself, by myself, because I'm happier this way, but I found out I do need to be out in the world. So yes, before the party, I would say I did survive the oil change to my car. There were just a little bit of tension there in the office to get that done. It cost a lot more than I thought. And they've got new help again, so I have the good part is I found a place that specializes just down the street a couple miles, that specializes in foreign cars. I'm going to go see them, see if they will take care of it. A car that old, because now my brakes need work on, so the oil people who had the oil change did not do their 20-point inspection, or they would have found that out. But anyway, I digress. Just want to do a quick ending to that. I did do it, but how that happens with the party was that I was already stressed out. I just needed to stay home and kind of rest, because I don't have a whole lot of energy. Anyway, but yes, so this party what's the party for? I was invited. This was not the way I would have done this party. This party was for two of my grandchildren who graduated high school. Yay! Who graduated high school this week, and they are cousins, and they happen to be cousins who don't know each other very well, even though they grew up in the same town. They have two different lifestyles, two different everything. I have three daughters. I would just say I have three daughters. They're all three totally different. Three different personalities, three different lifestyles. So it's kind of hard to have things together with them. So, yeah, but I would have, and then to top it off, I think the head of it was my ESFJ daughter, who loves parties, who loves everybody getting along, and she means well. She's a social butterfly of the family in the town. She means well, but sometimes efficiency is not the best policy, and sometimes people don't want to be around each other. But she's the one who's also getting a divorce, so she had the party with her estranged husband and his family at the house that they're not supposed to be living in together. Okay, I'm confused telling it. I hope you keep this straight. So there are a lot of variables in here, to me, being an INFP. And if you don't know, and I'm tired of telling it, I have been typed as an INFP by Myers-Briggs, also as an INFP with Socionics, which is IEI. So there, take it or leave it, either way. This was not going to be a harmonious thing for me. I really didn't want to go, but I felt like I needed to go because they were my grandkids. One I'm extremely close to, the one I had about the IVF video about. He's the one that graduated. He's the one that's been, he's the kindest and all to me, versus the other one is the one who hasn't spoken to me. That child has not spoken to me, and true to form did not speak to me at the party. So I'm the most estranged from. So the one So we're all at the same house, and my daughter who's getting the divorce doesn't understand that divorce means you don't do things together all the time anymore. It would have been better if they had had it, I think, if they had had it in a neutral place. But again, it's cheaper to have it at the house. It's more efficient to have it at the house than to have it at the rent the community center or whatever. So yeah, so I was already hyped up about going. I went and had my hair cut. I decided I would go, and I wanted to look nice. I really don't care how I look when I'm at home. Right now, I've got on loungewear. I call it loungewear. It's a t-shirt and it's lounge pants, men's lounge pants. These, for those of you who would talk about wearing gender clothes. I usually wear men's clothes because they fit better. My kids think these are my pajamas. They are not, but they're comfortable. I wear these in the house. I wear an old t-shirt out in the building around the rest of the old folks where I live. But I don't dress up because I don't have anywhere to go. But interestingly enough, I used to go out before the pandemic. I was socializing on all kinds of different levels and ways, socializing. So right before the pandemic, it just happened that I was able to buy a lot of shorts. I didn't have shorts. I bought like 6 pairs of shorts because they were on sale for $4 off season, and I liked it. Like 6 pairs of I bought every size, every one they had in my size because they were like designer shorts for $4. So I went for I got that. And I never had a chance to wear it because I don't go anywhere anymore. The pandemic came, I don't have to go anywhere anymore. But I decided I would dress. That's the thing. Number one, I did incorrectly. I got my hair cut and styled. I drove all the way across town to do that. Took me half a day between the travel time, the cut time, and all that to look nice. I scrubbed up really well. I put on the clothes. I went. And so the first thing when I walked in, and my daughters, and the way they had it, it was a floating party, so that kind of miscombobulated my brain. It wasn't, I like to go with the flow if I know what the flow is, and I like to know what plans are. So I decided I'd go early and leave early, maybe stay 30 minutes. So people were out in the backyard. It was a nice day, but the temperature was like 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so that was a little hot for me. They have a porch, a nice porch, covered porch. People were on the porch. People were in the backyard. People were in the living room. People were in the kitchen. They were coming and going, in and out, round and about. Since it was floating, people were in and out. There were people from each one of the they were invited by each one of the graduates, their friends, family, from each one of the graduates, and then people I have no idea who they were. So so when I walked in, number one, when I walked in to the kitchen part, I just wanted to walk in, and I had something for my daughter. Yeah, my kids, 3 kids, they were like, "Oh, you're dressed, you've got shorts on." I mean, they made a big deal. They said it right out loud. And because I don't usually wear shorts around them, because I usually don't see them in the summertime, and I don't usually dress up. So I don't have any knock-around shorts. I just have dress shorts. And they were like, "Oh, you got on shorts." And they said it right out loud. People stopped to look. I was there to blend in, and that is a thing for more of, that is a nuance. That's something I'm going to say in my videos, nuances between the Socionics INFP, IEI, and the Myers-Briggs INFP, is that the Socionics types INFP tend to want to be more of in the crowd, a blender. I know for Myers-Briggs, they're kind of called like chameleons. I don't like that word because that kind of insinuates that you're changing your personality. I don't like that. They more kind of like blend in to, I like to dress for the occasion and more like blending in, whereas the Myers-Briggs INFP don't care if they stand out. A lot of times they love to stand out and be different and show their difference. I am not that way. I stand out here at home because I don't dress. I guess I do that. But I was a blender ender. That's what I wanted to do because I knew how everybody else was going to dress. And they immediately, my daughters were like, had me standing out by saying, "Oh, wow, look at you," and out loud. So I had to explain myself. So for some reason, I shocked them, and for some reason, I dressed incorrectly by trying to blend in. And I was doing that on purpose I felt like dressing and being part of the crowd. Okay, I felt like doing that. So then that was incorrect because I wasn't my normal self, baggy self. The second thing was I found myself doing and getting uncomfortable. So I ended up staying 2 hours, which was like an hour and a half longer than I wanted to stay. But the second thing, how I incorrectly did this party, was I have this need. I have to be centered. I call it centered, but I think what it is I have this need that I need to know the players. I scan the room. I need to know the players and who's who. And I want to know in this particular situation, I would have been more comfortable had we had separate parties, had we had the parents that were being divorced, if they had had their separate parties. I would have been more comfortable. I would have known who's who was there for who. I kept asking my daughter, my ISFP daughter, if you saw my last video about how INFPs and ISFPs get along, she tends to hover over me at these parties, and I don't know if she's trying to take care of me and know that I'm uncomfortable, or she's also uncomfortable. She wants to hang around somebody who the vibe is the same. So she was kind of over me the whole time, and I kind of wanted her to get away a little bit, but I would ask her, I said, "Who's that? And who are they here for? And who are they?" And after a while, she just asked me, she was just like, "Mom, why do you want to know who's who?" I needed to know which group people were in, which camp. It was just, I never got centered for 2 hours. I never got centered which camp people were in. Not that they didn't like one another, but as it turned out, people did do the tribal type thing. They got with their camp. Like my son-in-law, who was getting divorced from my daughter, and his brother did not speak to me, even though I spoke to them. Yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point where there's a line in the sand and there's a camp. They're different tribal, and everybody hung up with their tribes. After a while, when I started figuring out who people were, I'm like, oh, well, they're with their group. So there's tribalism, which there wasn't, excuse me, there wasn't a flow to the whole thing. Even though that we're all related, 90% of us were related in one way or another. I couldn't get centered. So that threw my brain off, threw off the whole thing. So I didn't do that correctly. I didn't just go with the flow and, "Hey, how are you doing?" and "Hey," because I needed to know there were people there, and there were 2 girls that were there talking to my grandson, and I never figured out who they were. And I don't know if they're girls that he grew up with, or if one of them was his girlfriend, or he has a girlfriend. I don't know. They weren't introduced to me, and I just found them as I was leaving, so I'm going to have to figure out who they are. But that's something, and I do apologize again. I do have allergies. If you have not used to seeing me, I will cough while I am talking. I do have some water here. So that is something that comes up also with the different nuances of the INFP that I'm learning. It has to do mainly with quadras, and we'll get into that later. But the Socionics INFP, the IAI, tends to classify, is more of a group think, more of do scan the room, more of a broader the breadth and not the depth, and does tend to classify. If you stop and think about it, does tend to classify people into groups. We'll get into more of that later, I hope, because I want to do something on the quadras, which I don't agree with. I'll wait till I feel better and rested. But with the Myers-Briggs INFP, they're more individualistic, they're more one-on-one type people and want to know a lot about an individual person. So there's the group versus the individual. It's, and yes, both do both, but there's that small nuance of what's the most natural to you. What do you lean towards first? And yesterday at the party, I could have cared less to get to really know somebody. One of my daughter's high school friends, hadn't seen probably in 15 years, sat to talk to me. She wanted to catch up. At that party, I could have cared less about catching up. And I was just trying to figure out who's who in the whole big group. And there were probably, I have no clue how many showed up. At least 50, and I know that doesn't sound like a huge group, but to me it's a really big, anything over like 3 or 4 people is a big group, and there are at least 50 people in and out of all ages. So, it was chaotic. I would just have to say there was nothing harmonious. There was tension that I felt that other people probably didn't feel. There was no ebb and flow and harmony of the party. It was chaotic. It was tribalism. It was, you had to get to your group, and I don't have a group, but my ISFP daughter was my group yesterday, I guess. But I did notice, so that I did incorrectly. I kept asking who's who. I'm the only one who did that, I think, because everybody else was just in their own little world in the moment. Yeah, hey, how's it going? Then do your own thing and float. They were floating, and I just had a seat, and I sat in the seat, and I was sociable, but as much as I could be. But what I did notice is that I have a grandson who I suspected was the INFP, Myers-Briggs INFP. And after yesterday, I feel pretty darn sure he is. And he's supposed to be off at college. Haven't seen him since probably middle school. And he lives here in town. He's the brother to the one that doesn't speak to me, that group. And he was sitting on the couch staring at the TV on the wall, which was on. They had the TV on. And he was staring there, sitting by himself, and I hadn't seen him. I wanted to talk to him, find out what he was up to. And I did feel kind of like he is an INFP. And so I went and asked him if he was still in school, or had he graduated or whatever. And couldn't get word out of him much. And what I got after trying to pull some words out of him a little bit, that he's left college. He's going to go to community college. He's into video. He's a gamer, so he wants to study gaming and develop games. And he might. He's had a YouTube channel since middle school about Minecraft, so he is smart. But he's just doing his. He just does his thing, He's a very stereotypical kind of INFP. And after yesterday, I happened to keep my eye on him. And for the 2 hours I was there, he didn't eat anything, he didn't drink anything, he didn't move from the spot on the couch. I don't think he moved at all. Which looked so much like me when I was younger, when I was his age, and I could just feel the vibe of he just really wanted to melt into that couch and disappear. And I felt so sorry for him. I really wanted to go up to him and just tell, hey, I understand you. I know how you feel. And that's why I went over to talk to him. Other than he's my grandson, I hadn't seen in a long time. I really wanted to engage in him and have a conversation, which he wasn't really up for. But you had to tell him, yeah, I understand. I mean, I'm with you. I don't look this way on the outside, but I'm feeling you, you know. So that was going on. But so that was the number 2 way that I did this ESTJ party incorrectly. I did not go with the flow. I did not, hey, what, you know, didn't try to be the loud one, the son-in-law, the one that's getting the divorce. He always has to be the loudest in the group. And he was, yelling from one side of the yard to the other side. So he was doing his macho kind of thing, which is definitely not me. So it was that kind of vibe. It was like going into a bar. And you go into a bar, you may know 1 or 2 people. You don't know the whole bar. And they're in their little groups and at their tables or at the bar or they're dancing or whatever they're doing. I don't know. I haven't been in a bar in like decades. I don't know. But you do your own little thing. It's not a whole group thing, which I was trying to make it be and then categorize it. So, I did that incorrectly. But the main thing I did incorrectly, and my daughters yelled at me about, I think, quit yelling at me, was they had a table. There are different tables with different things. It was just too much going on, too much bells and whistles going on. If they had had music playing, I would have screamed. It was just too sensory overload for me. But they had different tables, and it was almost like going to a fair, the way they had it. And it was fun for them. But they had a table where you could write. They had cards, and you write, each graduate had a basket, and you wrote a note to them, some heartfelt note that you wanted to tell them. And this one had to do about life. I didn't realize that. And if any of you have seen these cards, because I feel pretty sure they came from online, then my daughter ordered them online because they were personalized to each name. But it had on there was just like, it was like a test. It had the words, always, sometimes, never, and then 2 more words. I can't remember what they were now. And then just lines to write a message. And I didn't understand what the always, sometimes, never was. And I thought it was like multiple choice. So I just circled always. I didn't know. And then I wrote the note. And then I asked, my daughter, they kind of followed me around, come to think of it, a little bit. And so after I finished, and I'm like, well, what's all this always, sometimes, never stuff? Why do we have a multiple choice question on here? I'm not understanding. And everybody came up, my daughters and their friends and all came up and said, you're supposed to say, like, always do this in life, never do this in life, like never drink, always have a good time, and sometimes, that's what I said. There are no directions here. I've never seen it before. Have any of you all seen this before? I've never seen it. There were no directions. So I just wrote on my grandson's, I just put across the side of it, I put have fun in big letters. And then one daughter says, no, that's not, you messed it up. And I'm like, no, I'm just telling you, have fun. I don't understand this. Then, since it's a personal, private note, I was going to fold it over and stick it in the basket. You would have thought I murdered somebody. No, don't fold it over. you've got to leave it the same. I'm like, why? It's a personal note. And they're like, no, we don't do that. And so I did that incorrectly. So I did this game incorrectly, which there were no directions. I've never seen it before. So on my grandson's, I put just some big letters across all the different words. I put just have fun. And on the other one, I just circled always and I put yes on that one. And then I put a note, but that one's I mean, So yes, I did that one incorrectly. So I did the party totally incorrectly. I made it back. I'm going to have to sleep for a week after going through all that. I'm sure I'm sure if I had folded my card over, it wouldn't have been the end. I mean, that wouldn't have been ruined somebody's life. But yeah, I just wanted to say little nuances here and there about the different types of the INFP, how that would, if you relate to any of this, whichever INFP you are, if you know an INFP, regardless of what model it is and how they are, if any of this resonates, comment below. If it doesn't resonate at all, and I'm totally quirky and out there, comment below too. I enjoy your comments. This is about what I'm going to be doing up until I get my computer fixed. I'm finding out I won't go into that. It's doing something else I don't like either. But yeah, I did go. I did socialize. It gave me a headache. I got lost on the way home. I was totally overwhelmed. So I went to bed early. I'm going to be doing nothing for a week probably. Not going to drive my car. It's going to be too hot. It's going to be in the 90s this week. That's way too hot this time of year. So yeah, I did go. I had a nice time. I think the people enjoyed that I was there. My kids enjoyed the fact I showed up. But that was a bit much and a bit chaotic and a bit non-INFP like, as as shown by my grandson, who stared at the TV the whole time and didn't move from that one spot, and I know he wished he would melt into the couch and disappear. So yeah, so like, share, subscribe, comment below, and until next time, everyone, stay safe.